What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Homeschool Dad, and I'm giving you tips today on needle precision concentration, all right, for your homeschool child. Or if you have your kid that go to school, it's for them too. But needle precision concentration, we want to talk about homeschool. So your homeschool child, needle precision concentration is very, very important. So let me give you an example. My son, he came to me, right? I walked in the room and he had got a 60% on his test, his quiz, right? Then he got a 90% on his quiz. And I said, Zakai, what happened to the 60%? He said, well, I was going back and forth editing and then going to the quiz. I said, well, that's your problem right there. You're going back and forth to something else. So I told him, I said, look, you already know the game. You know how we do it. Needle precision concentration. He said, Dad, I wasn't concentrating, I'm sorry, but I did concentrate and I got a 90%. And so that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? When your child is on the computer, the world is at their fingertips. So you have like YouTube, you have Minecraft, you have Roblox, you have these video games that are there that they actually care more about than school, right? So they will tend to go towards the thing they love the most, right? But you got to get them to understand that in order for you to do those things, you want to do your work first. And when you do your work, just concentrate on your work only, right? And that's what I tell them. I said, just concentrate on work only. I said, at the end of the day, you're going to have about a full 13 more hours of playtime. I'm like, you're only going to be in school for about 2.5, 3 hours, right? And you're going to have 13 hours of playtime. I said, but if you procrastinate and you go back and forth, your grades are going to change. Like, he's got really, really good grades, but if he would continue to dibble and dab, go back and forth from one website like YouTube or Minecraft and back to what he's doing on his work, his classwork, then he's not going to be able to concentrate. So you want to get them in that mode to make sure that they only have maybe 2 windows open on their computer, because Sakai had about 10 windows open at one time and he was going back and forth. And I told him, I said, you can't do that, because this is the result, your 60% on that quiz. And then you realize you wasn't concentrating, and then he went back and he took it again, he concentrated, and he got a 90%. All right, so needle precision concentration, you want to make sure that kid is focused just on the lesson, right? Get those windows out of there. I'm telling you, check it. I'm just gonna tell you, go in there, you check their windows. They got about 10 windows open, 8 windows open. So you want to make sure that they have maybe just 2 windows open, or maybe 3 windows open, so that they can focus more. All right, that is a quick tip. Make sure that they have about 2, 3 windows open. Make sure that they're not going back and forth from one thing to another, and that will allow them to break their concentration. You don't want their concentration broken. And actually, also, no distractions, right? Nothing in the house that's like distracting them, or somebody's trying to talk to them while they're doing their test, quiz, or their homework. Just want to make sure that they are focused. You can even close the door. You can sit in there. Normally I sit in with Zakai while he does his work. Most of the time I sit there. And when you, as a parent, and you're also a teacher, sitting there with your child is going to focus more on their work. Why? Because you're watching them, right? You're there in there with them. And so that's another big factor, is making sure that, from time to time, you go in there and you sit with your kid and you be with them, and then they have that support. And then also they're going to concentrate more, because they understand that you understand that the education is important for them, right? And they have to get through the education so they can get to that playtime, right? And that's what I get Zakai to understand. Get your kid to understand, get this work done first, right? Needle precision, just concentrate on the work first. It's only 2.5, 3, 4 hours sometimes, but you're going to have a full day of playtime. And get them to understand that. And when they get that in their brain, they'll be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna have all this playtime, and I've only been doing my work for 3 hours, and I got the rest of the day for playtime, no homework. oh man, let me get this done. And that's how, I be getting some kind of thing. Make sure you think like that, right? Because then it's like, oh, that was nothing, right? This is the most important thing is what they spend the most time on, and that's playtime, right? So you want to get them into playtime mode, get them to do their work first, right? And that actually encourages them when they understand how much time they have to play, and it outweighs the work that they have. 3 hours as opposed to 13 hours. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? So get them to understand that, right? And also stay in a room with them. Be in a room with them, and like I said, that would definitely get them to concentrate more. All right, that's another tip on homeschooling. All right, to get your kid to concentrate more at home, right? I am the homeschool dad. Please like, subscribe, do me a favor. Tell a friend about me, okay? Because I'm going to be giving you tips. If you have any questions, do me a favor and leave it in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as possible. Now, as this channel grows, I will do my very, 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 very best to answer all the questions that you guys may have, or maybe some of those questions might all be like combined, and I can answer those together. All right. Once again, I'm the homeschool dad, and I will see you on the next video.